Chapter 15, Troubleshooting and Career Growth. Section 15.1, Optimizing Performance, Managing Disk Cache and Memory. Section 15.2, Solving Common Errors, Missing Files and Render Glitches. Section 15.3, Building a Portfolio, What Creative Directors Look For. Section 15.4, Continuing Education, Resources for Keeping Your Skills Sharp. In Chapter 14, we brought everything together to create a polished brand intro. You now have a tangible asset that represents your identity. However, the reality of working with high-end motion graphics software is that the road is rarely smooth. After Effects is a powerhouse, but it is also demanding. It eats RAM for breakfast and processor cycles for lunch. There will be days when the software slows down, files go missing, or a render fails right before a deadline. This chapter is the mechanics manual for your creative engine. We're going to look under the hood to keep your system running smoothly. Then, we will shift focus to your future, discussing how to take these skills and build a career that lasts. 15.1 Optimizing Performance, Managing Disk Cache and Memory. Nothing kills creativity faster than the spinning weight cursor. When you press the spacebar to preview your animation, you want to see it play back in real time, not stutter frame by frame. Performance in After Effects essentially comes down to two things: RAM, random access memory, and disk cache. Think of RAM as your workspace. The bigger the desk, the more papers you can spread out at once. Disk cache is your filing cabinet. It stores things you have already figured out so you don't have to recalculate them. Allocating memory. By default, Adobe tries to play nice with other applications on your computer. However, when you are deep in a project, you want After Effects to be greedy. You want it to take every bit of available memory to ensure your previews are green, cached, and smooth. To adjust this, we need to visit the Preferences menu. Go to Edit Preferences a Memory and Performance, Windows, or After Effects, Preferences a Memory and Performance, Mac. Look for RAM reserved for other applications. I recommend setting this to the lowest number allowed, usually 3 GB or 6 GB, depending on your total RAM. This tells the computer, give the operating system just enough to survive, and give After Effects everything else. The power of disk cache. Figure, close-up UI screenshot of the After Effects Preferences window, specifically the Memory and Performance tab. A bright red highlight box circles the RAM reserved for other applications number input, showing it set to a low number like 3 GB. Another highlight points to the RAM available for After Effects. The interface is dark mode, typical of Adobe CC. While RAM is fast, it clears out every time you close the program. The disk cache is persistent. It saves rendered frames to your hard drive. This is why you might see a blue line above your timeline. Those are frames After Effects has saved to the disk so it doesn't have to re-render them. If you have a fast external SSD, this is the best place to put your cache. Keeping your cache on a separate drive from your operating system can significantly speed up your workflow. In the same Media and Disk Cache Preference tab, look at Maximum Disk Cache Size. Be generous here. If you have the space, set this to 50 GB or 100 GB. Click Choose Folder to select your fast SSD. Figure, a split-screen diagram. On the left, a screenshot of the Media and Disk Cache Preferences showing the Empty Disk Cache button and the slider for cache size. On the right, a stylized 3D illustration of an external SSD drive connected to a laptop with a glowing blue data cable, symbolizing high-speed transfer. A speed up icon floats above the drive. If your drive fills up, After Effects can become sluggish. Make it a habit to click Empty Disk Cache once you finish a major project to free up space for the next one. 15.2 Solving Common Errors, Missing Files and Render Glitches. You open your project, ready to work, and suddenly your beautiful video is replaced by colorful bars resembling a 1980s TV test pattern. This is the color bars error, and it means After Effects has lost track of a file. Relinking missing footage. After Effects does not store your video files inside the project file, .eep. It simply links to where they live on your hard drive. If you rename a folder, move a file, or unplug a drive, that link breaks. To fix this, look at your project panel. You will see a small color bar icon next to the missing items. Right-click the missing file in the project panel. Select Replace Footage of File. Navigate to the file's new location and select it. The beauty of this system is that if you have multiple missing files in the same folder, After Effects is smart enough to find the rest of them automatically once you identify the first one. Figure, a screenshot of the After Effects project panel. Several items are listed. One item is highlighted in red with a color bar icon instead of a thumbnail. A right-click context menu is open, with the cursor hovering over Replace Footage File. The background of the composition viewer shows the dreaded Emitter offline a color bars pattern. Purging the glitches. Sometimes, you might see weird green flashes or artifacts in your preview that aren't actually in your footage. This often happens because a frame was cached incorrectly in the memory. Before you panic and reinstall the software, try a purge. This forces After Effects to dump its short-term memory and look at the files fresh. Go to Edit, Purge All Memory and Disk Cache. This will clear that green bar on your timeline and force the software to re-render the frames. It fixes about 90% of visual glitches that occur during long work sessions. Figure, a minimalistic flowchart diagram with 3 steps. Step 1, an icon of a computer screen with a glitched effect. Arrow points to Step 2, a menu item highlighted Editor Purge. Arrow points to Step 3, a computer screen showing a crystal clear, perfect image with a green checkmark indicating solved. 15.3 Building a portfolio, what creative directors look for. We have covered the technical side of the software, but now we need to address the human side of the industry. You have the skills, but how do you get the work? As someone who has hired many motion designers, I can tell you that a creative director does not have time to watch 5 full projects. They want to see a show reel, or demo reel. The rules of the reel. Your reel is a 30 to 60-second compilation of your best work. It needs to be fast, energetic, and flawlessly timed to music. Recall the sync techniques from Chapter 12. Here is the golden rule: quality over quantity. It is better to have a 30-second reel that is absolutely stunning than a 2-minute reel that includes mediocre work. If you include weak work, the viewer will assume that represents your average skill level. Only show your best. Figure, a creative infographic layout comparing a good reel vs a bad reel. The good reel side shows a stopwatch at 45 seconds, a best of badge, and icons representing diverse styles. The bad reel side shows a stopwatch at 3 minutes, a tutorial icon crossed out, and a sleeping emoji to indicate boredom. The style is clean, vector art. Showing intent. Do not fill your portfolio with tutorials you have followed step by step. If I see the standard bouncing balls tutorial that everyone does, I know you can follow instructions, but I don't know if you can create. Take the techniques you learned in this book, like the rotoscoping from Chapter 10 or the brand intro from Chapter 14, and customize them. Change the colors, alter the timing, and add your own assets. Show that you understand the principles, not just the buttons. 15 Point for continuing education, resources for keeping your skills sharp. The world of motion graphics moves incredibly fast. The version of After Effects you are using today will look different in 2 years. New features, AI tools, and plugins are released constantly. To stay relevant, you must adopt the mindset of a lifelong learner. You have finished this book, but you have not finished your education. Where to look? Adobe Live and Behance, these are great for seeing professional workflows in real time. You can watch pros work through actual projects, which is often more valuable than a scripted tutorial. Plugin developers, keep an eye on companies like Maxon, Red Giant, or Video Copilot. Even if you don't buy their tools, their demonstrations often teach you about lighting and composition concepts that apply everywhere. Community challenges, participating in monthly animation challenges, like 36 Days of Type on Instagram, forces you to create consistently. It builds your portfolio and connects you with other artists. Figure, a collage-style illustration representing the digital learning. In the center, a glowing brain connected to various icons, a YouTube logo, a book icon, a player button, and a community chat bubble. The background features faint schematic lines of After Effects keyframes, suggesting that learning is the underlying structure of the software. The final frame. You have come a long way since opening this book. You have mastered layers, tamed the graph editor, navigated 3D space, and learned to render your creations for the world to see. Remember that every professional you admire, from YouTube stars to Hollywood VFX artists, started exactly where you are, staring at an empty composition, wondering what to do next. The difference is that they kept placing keyframes. Keep creating, keep crashing, and learning how to fix it, and most importantly, keep moving. Figure mind map, troubleshooting and growth, optimizing performance, memory settings, RAM allocation, closing background apps, disk cache, SSD usage, purging cache, green bar, preview, solving errors, missing footage, color bars, relinking files, project panel, glitches, purge all memory, update drivers, render queue versus media encoder, building portfolio, the show reel, under 60 seconds, best work only, sync to music, what directors want, originality. No raw tutorials, problem solving, continuing education, resources, Adobe Live, community challenges, plugin demos, mindset, lifelong learning, adapt to updates.